Hi, this is Billie Moffat, and we're just going to be going live in just 1 minute to talk about bullet journaling. All you need today is a notebook and a pen, and you are ready to go. So again, my name is Billie, and we are going to be talking about bullet journaling today. In just 1 minute, at 7 o'clock, we're going to be going live to talk about bullet journaling. So have your notebook and pens ready. It's a real simple thing to keep track of everything, and all you need is a notebook and a pen. So in just 1 minute, we're going to be talking about bullet journaling. So make sure that you have your notebook and pens ready. We'll be talking, and it's 7 o'clock. Hi, I'm Billie. I'm Billie from the Gailbourn Public Library, and today we're going to be talking about bullet journaling. It's a really simple and effective way to keep track of what you have going on, your daily life, what's going on in the future, and all you need is a notebook and a pen to get started. It's super simple, so let's dive in, and I'm going to flip the camera around and we're going to look at some of my bullet journals. So I'm just going to move the camera down. Here we go. And there's a bullet journal. It's just a notebook and something to write down. To start with, all you need is a notebook. It can be something as simple as a composition notebook. Here is a old Moleskine I have that was a bullet journal. As you can see, I duct taped the side because it was falling apart. It could be something as simple as a notebook I got at Michael's for just a couple dollars on clearance. And here's my current notebook right now that I'm writing in today. I use a Leuchtturm 1917 because I like to write with fountain pens, and the paper is fountain pen friendly, but any notebook, any pens will do. So what is bullet journaling? Bullet journaling is basically a system where you write down the date and then you write down what you have to do and what happens afterwards. And bullets are just the boxes, the dots, the dashes, and how you keep track of your day as it goes. Traditionally, bullet journaling started just this way: writing down the date, writing down what you have to do, and writing down meetings you go to, what was said, and what you have to do. Many people start out their bullet journal with a key, just like this one. So it lets them know what bullets they're keeping track of. I like to use boxes for tasks. Some people like to use dots and cross them out, but I really like to check off the boxes. You can use circles for events, triangles for appointments, dashes for notes, and you can even indicate how you're going to treat each one. Here is a migrated task, a task I didn't finish and I moved to a different list. Many people start with a key at the front of their bullet journal and have very specific notes and bullets for each kind of task. I don't. I just use many different things to indicate. I use dashes, I use little stars, I use arrows to mean everything, and I don't keep track. I just do a bullet and go. I don't try to keep track of each and everything. I try not to get too precious about stuff like that. When I started bullet journaling, it looked just like this, where I just wrote down the date and then wrote down the next thing I had to do. But since then, people have made them a little more interesting and a little more robust. So now I start each month out with a monthly spread. Here I wrote down the month. I wrote down 31 days because August has 31 days, and I wrote down things that were happening during that month. Not every little thing do I put in my monthly tracker. I put big things that aren't recurring, things that might only happen once a month or might only happen quarterly. I don't put weekly meetings and anything like that. Something else you can do is a tracker. Here are things I wanted to do daily and wanted to do weekly, but I'm not so great with trackers. I've experimented a lot, but I never seem to get to them. Here's another example of a month. Here's a year later in February. I wrote down all the things that were going on. I did a daily tracker here that I actually filled out quite a bit. I also wrote my top 3 goals and highlights of what was happening in the month so I could remember later on. I've also added a little washi tape. Washi tape is just thin decorative tape that you can get at almost any craft store now. Michael's, Hobby Lobby, the Paper Source. It's just a fun thing to use. I use washi tape on the first day of the month, so when I fan my pages out, I can find where each month started. See, here is another month. It's October 2017. I did my month here with a little more notes. I did my programs I was doing and things I was responsible for. Here I did a little color coding with making my volunteer sessions that I was hosting for teens in orange and no school days in a reddish pink, so they would pop out. Another thing you can do are weekly spreads. Here, I put my most important things that were happening in the week, my staff's schedule, and I also experimented with a tracker down there that I didn't do so successfully. I like to think about doing my weeklies, but I just don't seem to get to those trackers. Here's another experiment with a week. I have things that I'm doing each day. I have my goals for the week. I put a little monthly so I know what month it is. And I put notes about each day so I can keep track of what was happening. Here, 5 teens came to a pizza and books and they were blown away. Here we had to take a last-minute trip to St. Louis. So you never know what you're going to have to do, so it helps you keep track. Now, what are you going to keep track day to day? Are you going to keep track of a running list of what happens like right here? Or I also experimented with doing a page a day. Here, I did my week, and then I did a page for each day, where I did a time bar on the side, where I blocked out what was going on. Here I hosted, it was the summer, so I hosted the Center of Elgin Teen Camp in our teen center. I blocked out some time for lunch. I had a Thursday crafternoon and then a meeting. Over here, I went to the dentist. I hosted ice cream at books at the South Elgin branch. And then in the center of the page, I wrote down notes of what was happening. Volunteer information that went on, how many kids came to the Center of Elgin and what we did, things that I'm thinking of, stuff I assigned, ice cream and books notes of what books that we talked about so that I can talk about it in the future. And here I just wrote down things as they happened without thinking about what page they were going on. But there are many other things that you can do with a bullet journal. You don't have to use it for a way to keep track of your productivity, but you can keep it as a track of what's going on in your life. Here, I drew a bookshelf out of YALSA's top 10 teen books for 2017. YALSA's the Young Adult Library Services Association, and these were the 10 books that teens voted on for that year. So I drew them on a book, and I colored them in as I read them. And I missed one because I read the sun is also a star, so I missed coloring one in. So good way to keep track of what you're reading and what you want to read. Also, you can keep track of notes of where you're going. In my bullet journals, I also keep notes from when I go to conferences. Here I went to a conference and I took notes while I was there, and they'll always be in my bullet journal on the day that I went, right in time with the key. So let's turn our camera around again and bring it down. So bullet journaling is a great way to keep track of what you have going on. It doesn't have to be just a productivity journal like I keep for work, but it can be a way to keep track of your day. What meals are you going to have this week? What are your kids up to? What's something funny that they said? Glue pictures into it. Do little quotes. Track the things that you need to keep track of in a fun way. If I was going to boil bullet journaling down into one sentence, it's get a notebook and write stuff down. It's super easy. Don't try to get too precious with it. When I do, I stop using it. So I try not to treat it like a precious thing. Look for inspiration about bullet journaling on all your social media. Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. Facebook has great groups for bullet journaling and for mental health. There's also great inspiration on Instagram. Search the tags bullet journal, has over 5 million hits. Also, you can simplify it down to Bujo. B-U-J-O is another cute way that people are saying bullet journaling. Also, another related tag is Studygram on Instagram. One word, Studygram. It's for college kids who are posting their notes and how they're keeping track of things. A lot of them are using bullet journaling, and it's super cute and creative what they're coming up with. Just get a notebook and start writing things down. It doesn't have to be a special notebook that you get from Barnes & Noble or anything. It just can be a composition notebook, a spiral bound, anything that you have already laying around is something that you can use for bullet journaling. So dive in, start tomorrow, write down the date and write down things that happen, things that people say, things that you have to do, and how you're going to get them done. Thank you so much. I'm Billie from the Gailbourn Public Library. If you have any questions at this time, please ask a librarian. We're still there answering questions for you online. You can reach us by email, by text message on gailbourn.info, and don't forget to check out our 24/7 e-library for everything that you can still get at home. So remember to use your bullet journal, to check out books on the 24/7 e-library, and find all of great resources at the Gailbourn Public Library. Thank you and have a great day.